Hello again. Now in this video I'm established on the final leg and I'm going to fly it all the way down to the touchdown and explain as I go. Now I've just rolled out onto final and I'm established at 65 knots, 500 feet, and I have 30 degrees of flaps set. And now at this stage of flight I'm going to use the power to control my descent rate and the nose attitude to control my speed. So a combination of both of those will control my total glide path. Now, where am I flying to exactly? I've chosen the aim point, which will be this line right here. Pretty much in line with that taxiway will be my aim point. Now this aim point is not my touchdown point. I'm not going to be touching down there, so I'm not even going to try. This aim point is merely where I'm going to fly the aircraft to the runway. It's just to get me to the runway. My touchdown point is going to happen somewhere around here, maybe. Somewhere about there. But this aim point right here where I'm aiming at is just to get me to the runway. So don't try and touch down on your aim point. A lot of people make that mistake. They try and force the plane down right on that aim point. Big mistake. Don't do that. Fly your glide path to the aim point. Once you're over the runway, you can then just let the plane settle and it will touch down on its own quite nicely. Your touchdown point will be beyond the aim point. So by making constant adjustments to my attitude and power, that will control my glide path to that aim point. Now if this aim point starts sliding down the picture, so to speak, that means I'm going too high and I need to reduce power and lower the nose. If my aim point is going up the picture, I need to increase power and raise the nose as I'm getting too low. What I want to see is that stay in the middle, stay in the same place and just get bigger. That's all I want to see. What if it starts drifting to the left or to the right? Well, I need to use the rudder to point my aircraft exactly where I want to go and then use the ailerons to counter that drift. So at this point I'm going to be using the rudder to point the nose on the center line as best as I can, and I'm going to use my ailerons to keep the aircraft from drifting left or right. I'm going to keep it level and pointed where I want to go. So that's pretty much it for now. I'll fly my glide path all the way to around about the fence of the aerodrome, and then I'll explain the round out and hold off. So using the rudder to point that nose where I want to go. A little bit slow there. There's 59 knots. I want to stay at about 60. So as you can see, my aim point is just getting bigger. It's not sliding down or up or left or right. It's just getting bigger. That means I'm going straight to it. And my speed's up to 65. I can reduce power. Now I pause it here. Now I have a quick glance at my airspeed. 65 knots. That's okay, quite fine. So I'm just about passing the fence of the airfield. Airspeed's good. Now I no longer need to worry about airspeed or anything else. I've confirmed my airspeed is good and I'm pretty well going to make it to the runway here. So I no longer need to worry about am I fast enough to get there. I just need to focus on my aim point and round out, hold off and touch down. So let's explain that. As I get a little bit closer and at about windsock height, power to idle, gently start the round out about there. Now the whole point up to here I've been telling myself and the plane that I want to land. Now at this point I'm going to think that I don't want the plane to land. So I've rounded out just a few feet above the runway and I'm going to hold the aircraft off the runway just a couple of feet. So at this point here I'm telling the plane not to land. what this is going to do is allow me to slow down nice and slow. The aircraft will descend to the runway, and it will also slow down, and it will eventually touch the runway quite nicely. And the idea of this is to get the nose wheel up in the air away from the ground. The nose wheel is very weak, it's not strong at all, it's there only to support the weight of the aircraft nose, that's it. What we want to do is touch down on the main wheels. Those are the strongest wheels, they are designed to be landed on. So by holding off as long as we can, that gets the nose way up in the air and guarantees that we're going to touch down at least on the main wheels. So, oops, be careful, be smooth, let the aircraft do its thing. So the airspeed's slowing down, and at that point I touch down on the main wheels. You can see the nose is up in the air and the main wheels are down. Let's check outside, and there we go. The nose wheel is well up in the air, touch down on the main wheels. That's exactly what we want. And it wasn't a hard touchdown either, it was quite soft. And I've even got some wingtip vortices happening there. Quite nice. So you can see where I've touched down as well. So my aim point was way back at that first line. I flew it to there, and I've flown all the way down and touched down back here, way past this taxiway. So again, your aim point will never be your touchdown point. Don't try and force the plane down. Just fly it to the runway, and then at that point you're telling the plane that you don't want to land, and you're holding it off the runway just a couple of feet, and it will slow down, it will settle on the runway by itself. And by doing that, you should hopefully be landing in basically a climbing attitude. So the nose is up in the air and the main wheels touching down. And you can see I've pretty much used full elevator as well, so I really stored this plane onto the runway, and it wasn't a violent touchdown, it was quite soft. That's pretty much as good as you'll get. So back into the cockpit now. I want to hold the nose wheel just so that it comes down gently. I don't want it to slam into that runway. As I unpaused it there, my controls went back to neutral, but you get the idea there. I want to hold that nose wheel off. Now at this point I'm not going to do a go around, but that was basically the landing, and I'll do another one from short final, and also explain one more thing that helps you really judge how to hold off well, and that is your eyes, where you look. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm set up short final here. I'm just about to round out. Now I've been flying to my aim point, which is that first line there above the numbers, and I've been looking there, glancing at my speed every now and then to make sure I'm at the right speed. Now as I round out, I'm no longer going to be looking there at my aim point, because the aim point is not my touchdown point, so I don't need to worry about that. Where I'm going to look is I'm going to look at the other end of the runway, right at the very end of the runway. I'm not going to look at the horizon, at the trees, to the left, to the right, nowhere else except at the other end of the runway. I'm just going to focus my eyes right there. What that does is that gives me the best perception of height, and that also gives me the best judgment of whether the aircraft is sinking too fast, it's going back up in the air, or if I'm just holding it level. So let's do that right now. So as I gently reduce power, fly to the aim point, now I round out, I change my eyes, look at the other end of the runway. Now I can see if the aircraft's sinking or ballooning, and I'm just holding it level, keep looking at the other end of the runway, and there we go, a nice touchdown. Hold that nose wheel up gently, there we go. That is a landing. Now by following what I did previously and also in this one with the eyes, you should get better landings more consistently.